BBC Radio Scotland playing Train, 11:50 on a Thursday morning. This time of year, most people will be looking forward to a few extra days, sitting in Christmas PJs, getting cosy by the fire. But could sleeping in the nude actually be better for your mental and physical health? That's what some experts believe. So what's the truth about this? Let's speak to sleep expert James Wilson, a.k.a. the Sleep Geek, on this morning. James, morning.
Good morning.
You're the sleep expert. You're the man. Whenever we speak to you about sleep, you know it all. What should you be wearing when you get into bed at night?
It is a very individual thing, I'd say. To sleep well, we need to feel emotionally and physically secure. And I think sometimes some people find sleeping naked maybe makes them feel a bit vulnerable. So some people, it's something that they don't want to do. But for others, it can be helpful. And really the reason it can be helpful is it allows your body to be the right temperature more easily. So if you are laid under a duvet with nothing else on, then your body can go through the temperature change it needs to make. So to fall asleep and to stay asleep, you need to have a drop in core temperature as you fall asleep. And then during the night, your temperature fluctuates. And actually, wearing more clothes in bed and having like a duvet on and a blanket and lots of different layers, that is more likely to make you hot, and your body's more likely to wake up really to find out, like, why am I so hot? And you might take a layer off, or you might take a blanket off, and some people might fall back asleep, or some people might actually start thinking and worrying and be awake for longer and longer. So being naked actually just allows your body to control its core temperature better.
What's the optimum temperature in a bedroom for a good night's sleep?
The advice and research shows it's 16 to 18 degrees. Now, for some people, that might feel a little bit cold. Really, as you walk in the room, you want it to feel cooler. But the more important sort of temperature is the temperature between your mattress and your duvet, and that should be a bit over 27 degrees, and different materials. So if you've got maybe like a foam mattress and you've got a really heavy top duvet, when I've looked into this, because I've sort of worked with products quite a lot, some people are sleeping like 35 degrees, 40 degrees. That makes it very difficult for your body to sustain sleep in a way that's healthy.
So if you want to make sure you're the right temperature, naked is the way to go.
It's helpful. Now, if we're all different when it comes to temperature. Now, your listeners will know this, because if you're sleeping next to someone, some people will be really warm. They're like a radiator. They radiate heat. While other people, they're really cold to the touch. So I would say that if you're a person who's more naturally cold, you probably don't want to be sleeping naked. Going to bed and feeling cold actually to you feel quite insecure. You feel a bit too vulnerable. Where for other people, being naked really helps them manage their temperature better. So it's definitely not a one size fits all when it comes to nakedness and sleep.
Let's put this to the test. Comedian Dave Chawner's on the line this morning. Dave, morning.
Morning.
What do you think about this?
I think it's weird to sleep with your dangle out. Like, I don't like it. And like, I've heard what James is saying, but like, I think it's really important to say, like, the way that he's describing people sort of wearing clothes, like, I'm not wrapped in layers of Bako foil. Like, I only wear a t-shirt and some pants. And I think it's weird to not do that. It's like cycling without a helmet. So don't do it.
But born naked, what's the problem with going to bed naked?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that happen when you're born. You're also born in a myriad of different bodily fluids. I don't live like that either. And I actually think that, you know what, like, each to their own. I'm not telling anyone that they are a freak for sleeping naked, but I'm also not disagreeing with that either.
Right. Josie Smith, broadcaster, is on the line for this morning. Josie, you take a different view, don't you?
Broadcaster, but not nudist. But no, I don't mind. I don't have an extreme view on this, but I have to say, I've moved house this year. I've just not got around to buying a big winter duvet or changing over my bedding for the chillier months. So if it were warmer, I wouldn't have a problem with sleeping without my clothes on at all. I don't want to give my boyfriend ideas. That's the only sort of negative as far as I can see. But I genuinely do feel that my skin and my sleep pattern has changed as I've got older. So my skin is a bit more sensitive. I always had good skin, but when we had that really, really hot weather and I was out quite a lot exercising and training with my horses during the summer, I would get this terrible, sorry to go into too much detail, everyone, but like I found that I was getting like a sweat rash and a heat rash for the first time ever.
You should have phoned in the skin surgery a bit earlier.
Well, that's another thing on my to-do list, along with buying winter bedding and a bigger duvet. But I do feel that my skin is still a little bit irritated from that. And actually only the other night I was putting a pyjama top on and I could feel that it was a bit scratchy on my back, and I thought, oh, it's a bit too cold, I don't want to sleep without this. And then I was like to my boyfriend, don't hug me because the pyjama top's going against my skin.
What a lucky guy he is, isn't he? What a lucky guy.
Go to the other side of the Super King and leave me in peace. But it is making me think about sleeping with no clothes on being good for your health, and particularly the aspect about letting your skin breathe here is of genuine interest to me.
Do you think you probably sleep better naked, Josie? Do you think you get a better uninterrupted night's sleep? You're not waking up worrying about your temperature?
I think so, because again, it depends if you're dreaming, it depends if you've left the heating on, have you had a few veno collapsos in the evening. You know, I have woken up and had better night sleeps than others, definitely, as everybody will have. But sometimes you do wake up and you're a little bit hot and a little bit sweaty, got a bit of a glow on. And yeah, that probably has actually woken me up, as the sleep expert suggested.
What about if the fire alarm goes off in the middle of the night and all of a sudden you've got to be outside and there's fire engines and the neighbours?
I don't have anything to be ashamed of, Stephen, you know, so what's the issue here? I'm perfectly confident.
Dave, what would you say to Josie?
I would say that you've hit on a topic that I'm very passionate about. I talked about this quite a lot to my mates. I think there is a gender gap here. Generally, it's generally women who are naked sleepers. And actually, it's normally blokes that I've spoken to that don't like sleeping naked.
That is true. That is very true.
Maybe more research is needed.
Right. And why would that be, do we think, having had those conversations? Dave, what do you think is going on there?
You're asking me to come up with a reasonable scientific reason for the person
in
who
30 seconds would be nice. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I would say it's something to do with the chromosomes. It's always to do with chromosomes, isn't it? So I'm going to say that.
Josie, what do you think?
I think that men perhaps aren't as confident as they first appear. And my friend dated a guy who she never saw the upper torso of naked. True story. Never at any point during the relationship. That is weird. Never mind me sleeping as God intended, in inverted commas, not taking your clothes off. Those are the weirdos.
She never saw him naked above the waist.
I promise you this is a true story.
How long did they go out for?
They dated in inverted commas. I mean, it wasn't just a platonic relationship, and they definitely dated for a good few months.
Well,
I think she kept going in the hope that she would eventually see his 5 nipples or whatever he was hiding, but yeah.
On that bombshell, we have to wrap this up. So many questions unanswered. Josie Smith, broadcaster, Dave Chawner, comedian, and James Wilson, our sleep expert. Thanks so much for your time this morning.